Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Sasheen. Welcome to Women in Transition. If you're new to the channel, I am Dr. Sasheen, your host, your guide, your coach if you need one, but most importantly, your motivation to continue to practice rule number one, which is your peace is non negotiable. Let's bring this a little bit closer. All right. So, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about the fact that I'm going to send you back to school, that you are going to get an assignment and answer the question, so now what? So now what? If you're watching this video and you are one of the 300,000 plus Black women who have been forced out of government jobs, which is where a majority of them have been forced out of, I'm talking to you. If you're a part of the government shutdown, your job is on the line, you've been furloughed. I'm talking to you. If you're a Gen X woman and you're looking around recognizing that this is a point in your life where you need to make some different choices because you have lived a certain way and it is no longer working for you, I'm talking to you. And then if you just find yourself going, I like the topic, I'm talking to you too. So now what? What's next? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Who are you going to be? What is the thing that has been whispering at you for years? But under the noise of a society that has literally consumed you, you have been unable to hear that whisper, or you have been judiciously ignoring it because it will require you to burn some and dismantle some structures in your life that you just didn't want to do because, there's comfort in familiarity, and there is a comfort in banality, and there is a comfort in just being, right? Doing is a lot harder, it's a lot scarier, but just being is, it- they say that we should be human beings, not human doings. But sometimes we need to be human doings. And sometimes we need to be doing something different and not just being a human stuck in the same circumstances. So I was reading, as I tend to do. I was reading and I came across this passage in this book. I forget what this book is called, The Art of Living. I came across this passage and I was thinking about it in terms of what I wanted to talk to you about today. It's so fitting that in this stage of late stage capitalism, the people who are being the most impacted, right, are the ones who've given so much of who they are to the system in the hopes that they would just be allowed to survive. If we're lucky, we're allowed to eke out a middle class living, right? But unfortunately, what we find is that there's never enough of a dismantling of systems that are been put into place to harm you, right? There's never a dismantling of that. There's simply oh, we're going to put those on the shelf for a while. But should the need arise for them to come back down, we're going to pull them back off the shelf and we're going to use them against you. So I was reading this little passage and it said, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't need to read the whole thing. You're selling your time, your energy, your loyalty, and your knowledge. For what? You've put in a lot of time, effort, energy, a lot of time, energy, loyalty, and knowledge into other systems, into systems that at the end of the day were not your systems. They made you a part of the system, but they didn't give you ownership in the system, which is why when the system changes, you're the first casualty of that change, because the lie that's been sold to so many people is that by giving away your time, your energy, your loyalty, and your knowledge, you got buy-in, right? You got buy-in, and you owned a piece of the system now, and that piece couldn't be taken away from you until it was. Until those who saw systemic oppressive systems sitting up on the shelf said, hey, if we pull those back down right now, we can use them to our advantage. So here we are at a place in time where the big question for a lot of people as we're watching things unfold should be, okay, so now what? And for some people, that answer is one thing. For other people, that answer is something else. You have to decide what it is next that you are going to focus on, because you cannot focus on everything. Hallelujah, right? We don't really need to, but you can focus on the things that bring you the most joy and that bring you the most peace and that shore up your sense of safety and security in a world that doesn't feel safe and secure. Okay? That is going to require you to radically shift how you are perceiving what is happening. If you have been laid off or you're furloughed, I hate that word, laid off, fired, furloughed, whatever the word, whatever the circumstances, because there are different circumstances, whatever the circumstances that find you at this place where you're asking yourself, okay, really, she's not wrong. It's like, so now what? The assignment that I want to give to you is to get remedial with your life. You need to go back. And I put out a video, I think it was last week, where I said we spend too much time looking at past solutions to present problems, assuming that somehow we're also just not going to bring the past problem into the present because the past solution is got the baggage attached to it. So when I say you need to go back, what I am talking about is that you need to do some remedial work. You are highly intelligent. You've made it this far in life. You probably have made strides in your life that have taken you places you never dreamed about. You are obviously talented. You are obviously gifted. You are obviously worthy. You are obviously educated. You are obviously excellent at being the human that you have been up to this point. What I'm asking you to do is get remedial with how you feel up at this point. And by getting remedial, by going back down a few steps and saying, what is the lay of the current landscape of my inner world? I'm not asking you to look backwards. I'm asking you to cut away some of the very highly functioning things because I'm one of those high functioning individuals. Cut away some of the highly functioning things that keep you separate from some of the things that you need right now. Because right now, you don't need more high functioning attributes. You have them all. You have them all. What you need is to reconnect with the joy that you used to feel in the beginning of whatever path you are at the end of now. Because when we can reconnect the joy to the future, then the present doesn't feel so ominous, right? When we can reconnect the joy to the future, then the present doesn't feel so hopeless. When we can reconnect the joy to the future, then the present is exactly what it is. The moment we are standing in doesn't last, doesn't have to, not gonna worry about it, right? And so I want you to think about, I love books, so you're always going to get books with me. I want you to think about this quote here. Many of us get so caught up in pursuing things of outer value that we forget inner value, the rapture that is associated with being alive. It may feel damn near impossible right now to find the joy in just being alive, especially if you're not quite sure where the money's going to come from next month, right? I'm not diminishing what your current situation might be. I'm also recognizing that that's not everyone's current situation, and so I'm trying to make sure that you understand wherever you are. If you're not worried about money, that's great. If you are, we understand. But remembering, as Campbell is saying, the rapture that is associated with being alive, remembering that is what you need to do right now. Because remember, you've given your time, your energy, your loyalty, your knowledge to someone else's system. And in the process, you have been sold the idea that you have ownership in someone else's system. So your joy, your peace, the rapture of being alive has all been tied to someone else's system. And guess what? They've taken it away. They've taken it away. So whether they've taken your money, your job, your position, your status, someone else was able to say the system that you gave all of that stuff to, we're going to take it back now. So you get to go do something else, or you get to stand where you are and wait till we tell you what to do next. Because we still need your time. We still need your energy. We still need your loyalty. We still need your knowledge, but we're going to decide how much it's worth and when you get to use it. So until then, go sit down. That's one option. Go sit down somewhere and wait to see if the system reboots in such a way that you can go back to being who you were before you got booted out of the system. Or you can do something a little more radical. Now, I'm not a huge Joseph Campbell fan, but I really appreciate the idea of a radical return to the rapture of who you used of what you used to value, of what you value, not what you used to value, of what you value, of reconnecting the joy to your future, not someone else's future, not someone else's system, the joy to your future. Because as I said last week, part of the problem right now is that people don't see a future of possibilities. And when you don't have a future of possibilities to hold on to, the dark times have no light in them because you can't look for the light in the darkness if there's no joy there, if there is no belief that this moment is temporary. But by reconnecting your joy to the fuse of your future, and reconnecting them together, you get reminded that the present moment is just that. It is just a moment. Now, you might be asking yourself, but what does that mean? Well, I can't tell you what it means for you. I can help you work through it. You can get on my books, we can talk about it. But what you want to, oh, there was a blip. Okay. What what I have been saying since the beginning of a certain tenure of somebody's presidency is that your story, who you are, how you've existed in the world, back to the people behind you, generations behind you, your current story doesn't have to be written anymore where you stand. You can take your story and write it anywhere. You can take the vision of your future and plant it anywhere. You can take the narrative of the moment and rewrite it anywhere. And so maybe it's time to start thinking about what it really means to be you in this world at this time. Maybe it's time to start thinking, what is it that I want the next generation behind me? If you have kids, if you don't have kids, what do I want my legacy, my forward legacy to look like? What do I want my present to look like? What am what am I fighting a system that has literally pulled me out of it? What am I fighting to restore if you're fighting to restore it? I believe that one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves right now, especially for the 300,000 plus Black women who have been forced out of the good government jobs that they were told that they should have because it was a way to lift votes out of um, lower, upper, lower class and into middle class, right? I think one of the best things, the best conversations that I hear having are the families that are going, how do we fit our puzzle piece into a tapestry, into a puzzle that wants us to be there, that values our input, and doesn't look for ways to carve us out every single time? Those are powerfully shifted perspectives. And I think right now, if you start reconnecting to the joy of who you are and all the time, energy, loyalty, and knowledge that you have acquired, and recognize that those qualities open doors for you in more than just the system that you've existed in because you thought you had no choice, and begin asking, where else does this work for me? Where else might this work for my family? Where else might I find myself rejuvenated and enjoying life again if I just, for the moment, for just a second, recognize that I don't actually have to sit here and wait for the system to fix itself and then invite me back in. Nor do I have to give over myself to fixing the system that booted me out to begin with. Hint, hint. Nor do I have to feel bad if I decide that there are other systems that look similar to the one that I was in that I'm perfectly happy to be a part of that are not built on the sweat and labor of me as just a cog in a wheel, that value who I am, that see me for who I am. You got to decide what's next. But I'm here to tell you that you've given some very crucial things in some very crucial years to a system that does not value you. And if you continue to look at the system that does not value you as the only system in which you can find value, this moment is not going to change because it is cyclical. This is a harder version of moments that have happened before. History is full of them. History is also full of people who figured out a way to change their minds and get themselves to a place where they could begin to reestablish their joy, reestablish their life, reestablish their legacy, reestablish who they are and what they value, so that they are the ones that we're listening to now talk about. I remember when I was there when. Listen to those people. Listen to the ones that rebooted. We love talking about celebrities who endured, moved on, moved to different places, reinvented their lives. Right? Like we like the reinvention story a lot. We like it a lot, a lot, a lot. But what we don't always remember is that in order for those celebrities to enjoy life, the life that we see them, that we saw them, at their height, in order for them to get there, what they had to decide was that the system that they were in, the one that was breaking them or doing everything that it could to try to break them, right? That they could leave that system behind, take their time, energy, loyalty, and knowledge, and use that to propel their life in a different direction. I think a lot about Tina Turner, who everyone loves, and she is one of my all-time favorites. And I think about every time she was interviewed, for the longest time, up until I think the last interview she did with Oprah when she had gotten married. But every single time, regardless of what they were talking about, the circumstances of her life with Ike always came up, right? Always came up, no matter what. And it didn't matter that the success of Tina Turner far eclipsed the time she spent with Ike Turner. For some reason, especially for women, the systemic life, the system that you're placed into becomes the most important part of who you are. Not the system that you choose for yourself that gives you a better version of your life, right? Because Tina Turner went on for many, 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 many years post her time with Ike Turner. She made decisions, and this is the key. She said, okay, so now what? And she made the decision to take her time, energy, knowledge, and what did I say? Loyalty, and turned it into the persona that allowed her to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? From rhythm and blues to rock and roll wasn't a big leap. That voice, that drive that had gotten and propelled her to a certain place within a segregated system of systemic racism and oppression and domestic violence that was turned a blind eye to because we can sing, we like her singing. She turned her back on that system that, again, it was just using her talents, and said, but how can I take my talents and do something different and still honor what I am and who I want to be? That's the lesson that we need to talk about, right? How the system that was set up to confine her, she had to literally step out of, remove herself from, take away the system that says, here, we'll give you a little money if you keep tap dancing for us. If you just keep doing what you're doing, we'll throw a little money at you and have you believing that you're one of us. We'll throw a lot of money at you to have you believe that you're one of us. But just know we can also take it away if we think you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. She had to turn her back on a system that solidified her as an R&B, rhythm and blues, Ike person, and say, I'm going to wear interesting outfits and I'm going to sing in Vegas and I'm going to forge a path because my life story can be rewritten. She did what Joseph Campbell said. She got caught up in the pursuit of the outer value, but then she found her inner value. She found her connection back to being alive, back to joy. And because she was able to find that connection back to joy, she was able to connect her joy to the future. And we know what happened. We know it wasn't an overnight explosion, but we know what happened because we're still talking about it. And God's love her, she is gone now. But we are always going to be talking about it because when you find your joy and you reconnect it to the possibilities in the future, the present doesn't become the present lightens. It's not so dark anymore. Okay? So your story may need to be rewritten on somebody else's land. Your story, and when I say somebody else's land, what I'm saying is your story, the story of your future family story, the story that they're going to tell about your family and your people is written in many different places. For some people, it's all written in the same country. For others, it's written all over the world. Where's your story going to be written next? Where are you going? What's next for you? How do you reconnect your joy to your future so that the present doesn't feel so heavy? So that the present doesn't feel so ominous, and so that the present doesn't feel so desperate. So very, very, very desperate. That's what I'm going to leave you with today are those questions. Your homework is a exercise in finding your joy. Because I guarantee you, since probably January, a lot of folks have been leaking joy out of their pores, so they don't even know if they have any more left. Right? You got to find your spark of joy, not your motivation, not your hustle. That's for a different talk. You got to find the joy that lets you say, so now what? So now what? Not in a way that's, oh my God, so now what? But in a way that's, okay, so now what? Now what? What is it? What's next? What do I get to do? Right? What do I get to do? How do I get to figure this out? How do I get to move in life now? How do I get off someone else's shelf who put me there expecting me to wait around for permission to get off, to come down? How do I just pull myself off that shelf and walk away? How do I do that? Because the answer is there in front of you. Remember, you have time, you have time. You have energy, you have loyalty, you're very loyal to a fault. And my God, you have the knowledge, highly functioning, very skilled. You have all the tools necessary. It's just they're jumbled up in your toolbox because you're used to someone ordering your toolbox for you. And what I'm saying is it is now time to order your own toolbox and to figure out how to use your tools to help you make a really big decision. Now what? Whether that's entrepreneurship, whether it's moving to another country, getting a second, third, fourth passport, teaching English overseas, starting your own business, going to work for a foreign government, going to work for a foreign corporation, going to work for a nonprofit, choosing to open a school, choosing to start a rideshare service, choosing to do whatever it is that reconnects you to a sense of joy and hopefully a sense of whatever else you're looking for, whether that's income, time, or experiences. But whatever it is, you have to find it. You have to find it. You have got to figure it out because I usually am very much of the mindset that take all the time that you need to figure out what you need to figure out. But I actually think that you need to stop sitting on go. I think you have to stop sitting on. I had a friend who used to call it navel gazing. You got to quit gazing at your navel because your navel's not going anywhere. Right? You can only spend so many minutes or months or years swimming in here. You've got to connect here to here and then get out there. And now is the time to get out there, to start moving and shaking in ways that help you answer the so now what question in a way that is going to order your steps, order your life down a road, down a path to the next place more quickly than it did before because time is moving faster. We all feel it. We all can feel the changes are much more rapid than they used to be. That's not going to slow down. And I am not telling you to slow down. Unplug? Absolutely. Slow down? Not so much. Not so much. So, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your time, your effort, your energy, and your attention because you could put your attention anywhere and you choose to spend it with me. If you're listening to me, if you're listening to the podcast on any service that you can't see my face, that's totally fine. I'm talking to you out there on the waves, on the waves. I'm Dr. Sasheen. Every Tuesday we go live. We have a tea break for about 30 to 45 minutes. It's getting longer all the time because we just get to chit chat. And if you have time in your day on a Tuesday mid morning at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, and you want a place of peace, it is a place to come together. We are building a community of like-minded women who are committed to the rule, and the rule is your peace is non-negotiable. In that time we talk about all kinds of things. We keep it moving, we keep it not always light, but we keep it going, and we are absolutely helping each other lift our boats forward because we're not going to get any place by ourselves. None of us are going to get any place on our own island. We need other people on their islands to also talk to make sure that we're all doing okay. So come join us, come hang out, come have a cup of tea or coffee or a bagel or schedule your lunch. Come hang out with us. I would love for you to like and subscribe. I would love for you to share this message with someone who you know somebody out there who needs to hear this message. It may be you, but it's also probably somebody else as well. So share the message. Ask somebody in your life today. So now what? What are you going to do? I offer several books that might help you answer that question. And I do have a consulting service where I do help you answer those questions, especially if you're a woman going through a divorce or a woman in transition. The links for all of those things are in the liner notes of the channel and will be in the notes of this video. Thank you so much for your time, effort, and attention. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you again. Dr. Sasheen out. See you next time.